On this week's show, we bring you the latest from Liberty football fall camp, and we visit Malik Willis for an update at Titans training camp.
Plus, we share the story of former Flame Rick Kreider and how he's making a difference in the medical field. You're watching Flame Central.
And welcome inside our Flame Central studios. We are getting closer and closer to kicking off the 2022 football season, and I don't think anyone is more excited than me. I'm Emily Austin, and he's Rhett McGibbon.
Yeah, plenty of football to talk about on this week's show, and it's not just here on the mountain. We're going to take you on a trip to Nashville, Tennessee to get an update on former Flames QB Malik Willis in just a moment.
But first, we don't want the third member of our crew to get antsy. Matt Warner joins us now from the Flames camp, and we want to know who will be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, you're right. So much of the talk heading into camp has been about the quarterback position. And if you're expecting a resolution to this position battle anytime soon, you're probably going to be disappointed. Hugh Freeze saying that all four candidates for the job are guys that he trusts, and he thinks this position battle could well go into the start of the season, which means there's a scenario in which when the Flames take the field September 3rd, we end up seeing multiple quarterbacks get playing time. Now, on the other side of the ball, things appear to be a bit more settled. Last season, the Liberty defense quietly ranked 24th in the nation in points allowed per game. And while they may have lost 3 of their top 4 tacklers from a season ago, they don't expect a lot of drop-off, thanks in large part to some new additions from the transfer portal. Now the key for co-defensive coordinator Josh Aldridge at this point in camp is identifying the best way to use some of these new weapons.
We got a lot of newcomers on defense. I know we do return a lot, but at the same time, we have a lot of newcomers that I think we're going to count on that are pushing those guys. Right now in camp, I think it's more so just trying to figure out what our guys are good at, because when you're sitting here looking at all these different answers in your menu, you want to pay attention to this guy's good at this guy's good at that, and that's what we want to build off of. We want to put our guys in situations to do things that they've proven time and time again they're good at.
One thing Coach Aldridge hopes these guys are good at is getting the football. The Flames forced just 11 turnovers last season, down from 16 the previous year. Only 8 teams in all of FBS had fewer turnovers forced in 2021. So as you might guess, that's prompted this defensive staff to make creating turnovers a strong focus in the lead up to the season.
Now at practice, we harp on punching at the ball, going up for the ball, playing the ball more. So just doing all those little small details like punching at the ball and high pointing the ball, scooping the ball when it's on the ground.
Attacking the football, running to the ball, not running to the ball, but running to get the football instead of just going through the motions and really focusing on punching out and being intentional with it as well.
It's one thing to be a good defense, but when you start taking the ball away, you're directly affecting your offense, right? So how many more extra possessions can we get those guys? And that's been an emphasis so far. And I think that goes a lot with depth. You know, you're not taking the ball away when you're tired usually.
Depth and talent on the defensive side of the ball for the Flames this season. And one of those newcomers to keep an eye on, number 7, linebacker Mike Smith Jr., JUCO transfer that Coach Aldridge said had the best summer of anybody on that side of the football. And remember this, each of the last 2 seasons, the Flames have had a transfer linebacker end up being one of their top tacklers. 2 seasons ago, Anthony Butler. Last season, Story Jackson. So keep an eye out for number 7, Mike Smith Jr., number 7 on the field, Rhett McGibbon, soon to be number 1 in your heart.
You know me oh so well, Matt Warner. I'm a sucker for the JUCO transfer who has star potential. Staying with Flames football, offensive lineman Cooper McCaw has been recognized for his efforts on and off the field as he was named to the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award watch list. This award is given to the top offensive player in D1 football who exhibits integrity, performance, teamwork, sportsmanship, drive, community, and tenacity, specifically the tenacity to overcome adversity and injury in the pursuit of reaching goals. Hey friends, time is winding down. You're going to want to see who ends up being QB1 for the Flames, so be sure to purchase your season tickets. Another friendly reminder, Virginia Tech and BYU are coming to Lynchburg this year. They're coming to the Berg. You want to be there for this, so go to lufootball.com to order your season tickets right now.
So Liberty has you covered for your college football fix, but for the NFL, Leave that to Malik Willis. The quarterback has a new home in Nashville, Tennessee with the Titans. We took a trip out to training camp to get an update on his progress and to find out what he's learned about playing at the highest level since being drafted back in April.
With the 86th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Malik Willis.
I'm Malik Willis, and welcome to my new home in Nashville, Tennessee. I mean, it's definitely been crazy. It's been like a dream come true, really. As soon as OTAs ended and I had time to just let that all sink in and let all that process, I just take it as a big old blessing, try to run with it every day and just be grateful for it. Just understanding that you don't know everything and just trying to feed from different people, different perspectives.
He's a great kid with high character who comes in and wants to know the why. He wants to understand what occurred with the mistake.
You know, his ability to move on to the next play, to be able to process things quickly and understand when it was a mistake, and his, you know, being able to be coached has been great. Just have to continue again, you know, as we move forward here and some of the stuff that we're doing to be able to handle the operation.
I had a feeling he would be able to grasp a lot of information and be able to retain that, but it's been even better. And now it's just really tying it all together. You know, we really have to tie the lower half of our body to what our mind's telling us to do.
Understanding it all is the easy part. It's about going out there and being able to do it, having that anticipation, the footwork, and just making sure you're always ready to get rid of the ball. Just understanding the process of getting to where you want to go and just taking it day by day.
It's basically been just kind of like a stripped down process. I mean, the guy is so gifted, so all of the tools are there, but it's just really good for him to just learn from the ground up with the people who are going to be calling the plays and designing the plays and everything like that.
I think it's cool having somebody that been playing this game for a long time. You know, he was in the NFL when I was like just getting to high school, I think. So it was like he's seen a lot of ball and he has the mind of experience. I just feel like it's really cool to be able to see him going his reps and how it time up, and it's like, okay, I need to do this and this and this, and then I can just apply it to my game if I feel like I need to.
You know, I'm excited to be working with Malik, and he's done a good job of trying to do what we're asking. You know, he's a really good dude. He's coming with a great attitude and is trying to get better. So, you know, from my seat, that's all you can ask for.
You know, the big man upstairs gonna hold it down every time. They put me around some good people, so it's just, you just gotta trust it, you know what I mean?
Brett, I remember back in April when we're all watching the draft, Malik falls from the first round, and we just don't, and then the second round, we didn't understand, but proof God has a plan. Him getting drafted in the third round of the Titans, he's in such a good position there in Tennessee, so I'm really happy for him. You can tell he's happy as well.
Yeah, happy and developing. You see on social media, if you're following the Titans right now, it seems like Malik every day is getting a little bit better, a little bit better. Now, I'm not saying he's taking over Tannehill for QB1 this season, but he's definitely developing in that program, and that's great to see.
It is. All right, hey, we know we're getting you all hyped up on Malik this upcoming NFL season, but he's not the only former Flame playing on the big stage. Take a look. Jesse Lemonnier, who made some noise in the league last season, is in camp with the Cardinals. One of the lead tacklers for LU in the 2021 season, Skylar Thomas, he's in camp with the Chargers, while Duron Lowe is across the town with the Rams. Kevin Shaw has been turning heads with the Bears, as well as Story Jackson, who, if you remember, had an impressive pro day this past spring. He's with the Cowboys. Last but not least, Elijah Benton just signed on with the Titans.
All right, best of luck to all the guys trying to crack an NFL roster this fall. The Flames' Rick Kreider. It's not a name that jumps out at you when you think of the all-time greats in Liberty football history. However, his time at LU, specifically in the classroom, set him up to be a difference maker in the sports world today.
You never know who's going to sit in your class. You never know what they may do if they're in the right opportunity. And so you never know what kind of diamonds in the rough will be out there. And I'm an example of that.
Rick Kreider played on Liberty University's football team in the early 1980s. He was the first from his family to go to college, so he can be forgiven if he needed some help understanding the higher education process.
I had no clue. I was a first-generation student. All I thought you need to do is get your degree so you can then go do what you want to do. And I was in a class with Dr. Horton taking an exam, and he says, "Hey, you're doing pretty good at this exercise physiology. What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I'll be a strength coach." He says, "Well, where are you going to go for graduate school?" I had no clue. What do you do at a graduate school?
What he did was take a football mentality into the classroom.
I took the amount of effort and work that I was applying for football, and when I went to graduate school, it was like all in. I knew how to work in the discipline, etc. time management.
And the harder he worked, the more opportunities presented themselves.
My major professor says, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I'll be a strength coach. And he says, well, have you thought about making a bigger influence by doing the research that strength coaches do? He says, do you ever think about a PhD? I said, PhD? What is a PhD? So well, what can you do with it?
Rick would quickly learn what to do with a PhD. After stints at Old Dominion, Memphis, and Baylor, he's now the executive director of the Human Clinical Research Facility at Texas A&M University, where he directs the Exercise and Sport Nutrition Lab. Rick has published 8 books, written numerous peer-reviewed articles, and is an authority on the latest research pertaining to exercise and nutrition in athletic performance.
We're always trying to find new discoveries to help improve quality of life. And because we've had a great record of success, a lot of companies and others will come to us to try new, novel things that can not only help athletes, but also help daily to keep you more active and productive at work.
And behind all his success is Rick's faith in Christ, providing purpose in everything he does.
I think because I have faith and know I'm here for a reason, and the Lord's put me in this position, I have an opportunity and an obligation. I publish not because I have to, it's because I want to, because I know people can use the information and help improve the quality of life. It makes you kind of reflect. I mean, you know, there's divine providence, and you know, to think that a kid that came from a common background would go to college and then actually go to grad school and get a PhD and then have the impact. I think that knowing that there's a reason for why I'm doing what I'm doing and the impact it can have, I think that's because of faith and the Lord putting us in positions that we can best serve Him.
Well, great job by our Ken Toes producing that story. Hey, believe it or not, we're less than a week away from the Lady Flames soccer team taking the pitch. Coach Lang Wiedemeyer enters his 6th season with the program and has LU ranked 3rd in the ASUN preseason coaches poll. Lipscomb takes first with 12 first-place votes, while FGCU was selected 2nd with 1 first-place vote. LU will be led by Meredith King, who was selected to the ASUN preseason all-conference team for the first time in her career. She tallied 12 points for the Flames last season.
All right, to the track, or more so field. Desmond Coleman redshirted his freshman season here at Liberty, but he's going the distance in the discus. Get it right? Coleman represented Team USA in the World Athletics U20 Championships in Colombia. He reached a personal best on his 3rd attempt and finished 7th overall. That's the best finish by a Team USA men's discus thrower since 2012. It's safe to say this young thrower is going to have quite the future with the Flames, and we're excited to watch it unfold. All right, coming up after the break, the remarkable journey of Lady Flame tennis player Tiffany Wing and how the Lord led her to Liberty.
Plus, there's a new 4-legged member in the Willis family. That's still to come on Flames Central. Don't go anywhere.
Shedler untouched. Oh, goodness, what a sack. Says, boys, that's how we do it. 10, 5, right about. Yes, touchdown, Liberty.
Does education mean a room with 4 walls, a desk, and a PowerPoint lecture?
Or is it something bigger?
What if it's the people beside you, 1 chair away or 1 ocean away?
What if it's the chance to learn from your mistakes, as well as your victories?
And the push to keep going either way. What if it's the freedom to reach for bigger things without missing the little ones in between?
For each of us, education looks a bit different.
because we're each a bit different.
But at Liberty, we think education might just mean something big enough for all of us. That's Liberty to us.
What will Liberty be to you?
A college degree is more than a diploma. It's taking control of your future and finding that next step. At Liberty University, we not only care about your career, we also care about your calling. And we want to help you learn, develop, and grow so you can make an impact as a champion for Christ. Over 450 online programs, one you, infinite possibilities.
Top of the circle, sends it down low, nice move, Gamer in front, scores! What a move! A snipe from the top of the circle, high on the glove side. Flames, a great shift here so far. Quickly fired ahead, down deep. Lobber after it, fires it around, and that's gonna do it.
Welcome back to Flame Central. Playing sports at a young age can help develop important qualities in one's life. Work ethic, discipline, teamwork, but can also bring fatigue, distress, and loads of pressure. For Tiffany Wing, her talent was in tennis, but her heart was unfulfilled. However, through the struggle, her discipline to the Lord would go unmatched and would help her find a home here at Liberty.
I grew up in Vietnam. Although I was born in the States, I was 3 months old and my parents took me back to Vietnam, and I grew up speaking the language. I have 4 brothers, and we all started out playing tennis. I would hit the ball a lot harder than any other girl, you know, and it just came natural because it was just a God-given talent, you know. My coach was like, wow, she's got talent. She's got lots of talent. And then my dad, obviously hearing that, he was, you know, very happy and really proud of me. So I was like, I want to make my dad proud. And so that's honestly how I started, not because I loved tennis, but because I loved my dad.
Tiffany Wing would rise to the top of her sport in Vietnam, even becoming a national champion. But her success would mask the hardship she was enduring.
It was almost like I hated the sport because it put so much pressure on me. I would do extra and more extra just to be good enough.
Tiffany's identity was rooted in her performance on the court.
Tennis wasn't so much because I loved it or because I loved being on court, but it was more, this is how my life is. And if not tennis, nothing else. You know, this is who I am. And if I'm not good at tennis, then people won't see me. Growing up, even though I loved Christ, I didn't really understand what it meant to find my identity in Christ. You know, you've heard it all your life. My mom and dad would tell me that all the time. Your identity isn't in tennis, but it's in Christ. And I was like, yeah, I know. But I never really understood it.
And the stress of having to excel in each match would eventually lead her down a dark path.
And that pressure really got me into a lot of different things too. I was bulimic for 4 years, 5 years now actually. And that was rough, to say the least. For me, it was like, maybe I can't perform on the court the way I want to every day, because any tennis player knows that. You can't have the best day ever, every day. But for me, weight and how I looked, I could probably control it in some way. I would fast, and then, you know, being bulimic, I would eat and then throw it up and all of that. I don't know, it made me feel like I was worth something. Anyone with an eating disorder would know. It's not just a part of your life, it is your whole life. And that was probably the thing that hurt me most, because I was a Christian and I said I love the Lord with all my heart, but how could I love the Lord with all my heart and this still be such a huge thing in my life. But when I finally really did have hope was when I was shipped to America.
Nice, good, Tiff.
I was so surprised when I came here and I was in practice and nobody was screaming at me or yelling at me or saying that I should just quit tennis or something. I was so surprised. I was like, wow, this is really nice. Like I'm allowed to be me. I'm allowed to mess up.
So very similar to the one we did on Monday, except
As a member of the Liberty University women's tennis team, Tiffany has fit right in. But the journey to Central Virginia was one she never wanted to take.
Growing up, I've always been mission-minded. And I was like, okay, God, I've graduated high school. You can send me anywhere in the world, Uganda, Papua New Guinea, literally anywhere, just send me.
Tiffany received her answer, though not one she was expecting.
Out of all the places in the world, you want to send me to America. I had very biased opinions at the time because, I grew up in Vietnam all my life and being on that side of the world. So I spent 1 full year fighting God. I was like, okay, God, I'm gonna give you 1 year to change your mind. God doesn't change his mind.
Tiffany decided that she would only go to the U.S. if offered a tennis scholarship from Liberty University, an unlikely possibility, she thought, due to her tennis rating.
I was 100% sure Coach Marin wasn't gonna take me. But then one day, he called, and I was like, oh, this is where he breaks the bad news, And so he says, Tiff, we'd like to offer you a scholarship if you want to play for our school. My mom was sitting behind me and she was crying her eyes out. I was crying my eyes out, but not tears of joy. Hers were tears of joy. I was like, no, here I go. I cried the whole 12-hour plane flight. I cried so hard. I was like, it felt like I was losing everything when I was about to gain the whole world.
it's been a rapid growth for her, and I think this environment has really helped her to see that this decision to come to Liberty was a God decision. It was a God thing, it wasn't just her decision or her parents' decision. It was the Lord leading her here.
It felt like God took me away from everything I knew, and he, stripped everything away from me in order for me to see him. And that's what happened. I saw him. It was a spiritual awakening that it just happens to you, and your eyes are open, your soul's open, everything. And that's when I knew I loved the Lord for myself.
With the help from above, Tiffany continues to fight her ongoing battle with disordered eating. It's a difficult journey, but one she faces knowing it has a greater purpose.
I've always been really open about my struggles because I believe that God gives you struggles and stories so that you can tell. And I'm tired of running after that perfect body image. I've been, getting counseling, and I'm getting help, to train my body to eat like a regular person again and see food like a regular person would, like a healthy relationship with food.
And as Tiffany takes the court each day over 9,000 miles away from home, she does so with the knowledge that God has her exactly where she needs to be.
God gave me now this story and this understanding and this new view of the whole thing. And he's turned it into something that can hopefully inspire other women to be happy with who they are, who Christ has made them to be.
What a powerful testimony. Great to have her here on the mountain. Okay, coming up, Malik Willis had a special visitor at Titans training camp. Find out who it is after the break.
You might have heard some things about Liberty University, like how we're just a little Christian school in the middle of nowhere. And there's nothing to do here. I mean, come on. You know us. Boring.
Boring?
Yeah. They say we don't work as hard, think as hard, try as hard.
I object.
The truth is, well, we might surprise you.
On this mountain stands a legacy. 50 years of miracles, of mountaintop moments. One mission from the start, training champions for Christ. On this mountain, our flames burn brightly. We have a culture of academic excellence, unified in Christ and authentic community. Though we come from different paths and places, the same fire burns in all of us. And 125,000 strong, we cheer each other on around the stadium and around the world. On this mountain, our intensity lights up the night. We coach forward, push onward, honoring Christ in every sphere of our lives. We serve, give, and volunteer, grateful for all that we have been given. For 50 years, Liberty University has stood united in our mission. On this mountain, we train champions for Christ.
Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the show. You know, there's family and then there's dogs. And dogs have a special place in Emily's heart.
That's right. I'm not going to lie. I'm that person at a get-together. I'm not talking to the other humans in attendance. I'm laying on the ground, petting all the dogs. You know who else is like this?
Hugh Freeze.
No. Malik Willis.
Oh, okay.
So I'm in pretty good company because as he's casually on the ground signing autographs for fans, his dad introduces him to the new member of the Willis fam.
Oh, such a cutie.
Dino. It was the first time Malik met the little Frenchie. He's going to live between Atlanta and Nashville.
Yeah, that sounds like a great gig.
Yeah. All right. Hey, the Flame Central podcast is coming back, so make sure you subscribe to that. We have some good football coverage. For Rhett, I'm Emily. We'll see you back here next week.
Side, hey, looking for a free ride. Everybody wanna get some.